All right, let's dive right in. Today, we are talking about the greater Indianapolis real estate market because something really, really weird is going on. Seriously, it's become one of the most divided and frankly confusing markets we've seen in a long time. So let's break it down. This right here, this is the question that is making everyone's head spin in Indy right now. You've got one friend telling you about a wild bidding war in their suburb, and then another friend, maybe just a few miles away, is talking about getting a massive discount on a house. So how can both of those things be true at the same time? What is actually happening?
Well, the short answer is that the market hasn't just cooled down or heated up, it's literally fractured. It's split right down the middle. According to our data, we're not looking at one Indy market anymore. No, we are looking at a tale of two completely separate markets, running in parallel in the same city.
So first, let's explore one side of this story, the side where the power has just dramatically flipped right into the hands of the buyers.
Just look at this number, 5.8 months. That's the amount of housing inventory currently sitting on the market in Avon. Now, to put that in perspective for you, anything over 4 months is already starting to be considered a buyer's market. So yeah, this is a huge, huge sign that the tables have turned.
And you know what's really wild? It's how fast this happened. This wasn't some slow, gradual change over a year. No, the supply of homes for sale in these areas literally doubled in just 10 weeks. The power didn't just shift, it was a complete landslide.
And of course, a huge surge in inventory like that has a direct impact. In suburbs on the west and south sides, think Avon, Greenwood, Franklin Township, more than half of all the sellers are having to cut their asking price. And look at Avon and Brownsburg, 61%. That is just staggering. So what does all this buyer leverage actually look like when you're making an offer? Well, it means you're seeing big discounts right off the list price. It means sellers are coughing up $10,000, even $15,000 in concessions. And the builders? Oh, they're throwing in everything. Closing costs, refrigerators, landscaping, even buying down your interest rate just to get a deal done.
And here it is in black and white, a perfect real-world example from the data. A brand new house is listed at $489,000. It ends up selling for $30,000 less. And on top of that, the seller throws in another $12,000 for the buyer's costs. That's a $42,000 swing in the buyer's favor. Incredible.
But listen, that is only half the story. Now we're going to flip to the other side of the metro. And you might want to brace yourself for a little whiplash, because in these other areas, sellers haven't just held on to their power, they're stronger than ever. Remember that 5.8 months of inventory we just saw in Avon? Okay, now look at Fisher's. Just 1.9 months. This isn't just a seller's market. This is an extreme seller's market. There are simply way more buyers than there are homes to buy.
And in these seller strongholds, we're talking about places like Fisher's, Carmel, and Zionsville, the experience is the exact opposite. Bidding wars are the norm. Cash offers are everywhere. People are even waiving inspections to win. And price cuts? Almost unheard of. Only about 11 to 21% of sellers are even considering it. This is what that feeding frenzy actually looks like. A house hits the market for $539,000. 4 days later, 7 different buyers are fighting over it. The winner pays $26,000 over asking, in cash. It is a completely different universe from the west side.
And if you want to boil it all down to one single number, it's this one, 102.4%. That's the average sale price compared to the list price in these hot zones. It means that on average, homes are not just selling at asking, they are consistently selling for more.
Okay, so we've seen the two extremes, right? Now let's put them side by side so you can really see just how big this divide is. I mean, the contrast is just so stark. In a buyer's market, houses are sitting for over a month, and more than half get a price cut. But in the seller's market, they're gone in under 2 weeks, and price drops are rare. And just look at those inventory numbers at the end. They tell the entire story. Let's make it even simpler. On the left side, you've got discounts, negotiations, and plenty of time to make a decision. On the right side, you have bidding wars, over-asking prices, and houses that disappear in a flash. It's two completely different worlds inside one city.
And you know what's really fascinating is that there's a clear geographic pattern to all this. Generally speaking, power is shifted to the buyers on the west and south sides of town. And a big reason for that is the boom in new construction, which has increased the supply. Meanwhile, the sellers are still firmly in charge on the north and northeast sides, where those established neighborhoods and top-tier school districts keep demand through the roof.
So, the big question, what does all of this actually mean for you? How can you use this information to your advantage?
All right, let's get into the playbook for how to navigate this market right now.
The strategy is actually pretty straightforward once you see the map. If you're a buyer, you need to be shopping in places like Avon and Greenwood. And don't be shy, negotiate hard. If you're a seller in a hotspot like Fishers or Carmel, just price your home correctly and get ready for a flood of offers. And hey, for the really savvy move-up buyer, the ultimate play is right now. Sell your home for top dollar in a seller's market, then immediately turn around and use your leverage to buy your next home in a buyer's market.
So there you have it. The data shows a market that is truly divided against itself. And that creates some really unique risks, but also some amazing opportunities. The big question now is, how long can a split like this really last? Will the buyer's market conditions start to spread across the whole metro, or will those seller strongholds stay untouchable? I guess we'll just have to keep an eye on the numbers.